So if you watched the earlier video that I did and hopefully you found something useful and you're here to get some other ideas, welcome back. So in my first video I had spoken about this idea of accountability. So if you are at a place where you feel that you messed up, you are at a point in life you never thought you will be, and let us say it's the worst case scenario for you. So the first step we spoke about was accountability, responsibility, understanding that sooner or later we have to realize that this is our own doing. Today we talk about step number 2, which is acknowledgement or admitting the fact, the idea that what all we did that got us here. And I'm not talking about going and talking in front of other people or admitting your mistakes or acknowledging your past and your failures, whatever it is, in front of other people. No, that doesn't serve much of a purpose. The idea here is to kind of go back where you messed up and try and look back into your life and see where all did you do whatever you did that got us to here at this point of time, because that is the only way you can ensure that you don't do this going forward. Else it's just a circle, because you will not understand your own patterns, your own subconscious or unconscious behaviors, and they'll keep driving you to recreate the same familiar hell. And the worst part of it is not just what you do, is your ability or our ability to not recognize what blessings, what opportunities are right in front of us. It's like at the core of self-sabotage behavior are these patterns. So you need to understand and you need to admit, okay, I take accountability for my life, I take responsibility. Now I need to see what all did I do. I have to admit to myself, I have to acknowledge my deeds. Because it doesn't matter whether other people know, whether other people see it the same way or not, we always know what we did. And it takes a lot of kind of the ability to hold space for very, very difficult and problematic emotions, and perhaps that is why a lot of people don't do this work to self-analyze, because trust me, I've been there and I've done that, and that is why I messed up big time, is because it is so easy to just blame other people. I did this because that happened. And the saddest part is that there is quite a bit of truth to it. Perhaps this happened because of somebody else's actions. Perhaps this happened because somebody else chose not to show you the true picture, not to show you the full picture. Maybe you got betrayed, maybe you got taken advantage of, maybe you got cheated, maybe whatever happened. But we can't let it be the reason that we keep repeating our patterns, because this doesn't matter. Whatever those people did or whatever happened to us has already happened, but now we are just perpetuating our own misery. We are just making life more difficult, and it's like a series going from one destructive occasion to another. So everything that happens, we will just find a way to destroy it, to not take advantage, to throw ourselves a pity party. Now, however much justified we might be, we need to go back and kind of face all our patterns. And that is difficult. And that is not easy, because see, if you look, often a lot of people talk about that, get back up. You fall down, you get back up. You fall down and get back up. And perhaps it is true for people who may not have that many self-sabotage patterns, or maybe they are not in the self-destruction mode. But for people, at least like me, who have been struggling with this kind of behavioral patterns, it is important to stay in that place, to stay in that failure and feel. Because trust me, now I understand there were moments in life where I really struggled, and if I had taken a bit of time to just allow myself to feel the full force of that negativity, of that feeling of failure, then I would not have faced something that completely altered and changed the course of my life. I would have been able to spot red flags in myself and in other people, in organizations, in situations, and I would have been able to navigate through them way better. I would have conducted myself with way more grace than I did. And when I first heard this idea that if you fail and if you've hit rock bottom, you stay there and you analyze and you allow yourself to feel, I was livid. Because when you don't understand it, you just feel like the other person doesn't understand your pain, but perhaps the other person does. They understood the pain, they embraced the pain, and they got out of that situation precisely because they chose to feel and allow themselves to understand, okay, this is what I did. And that will not happen if you want to immediately move away. So just to give you an example, let's say you were in a relationship, a long-term relationship, and it broke off, or something of that sort happened. It could be platonic, it could be, marriage, it could be any relationship. So it is a very difficult place. Okay. Once it is, now the thing is that most people make the mistake of rebounding and immediately looking for someone else to fill that void, which is perfectly understandable, which is the normal human thing to do, because rejection and this kind of breakup is not just mental, it's physical. It is just misery compounded. So the fact that people go and look for someone to fill that void, to help them look away from that pain is fine. It's normal, it's understandable. But it won't lead to a better relationship, because they won't understand what part they played in the relationship going that way that it did. And let us say, even if you did not play a part, let us say, assuming that the other party was completely to blame, was absolutely abusive, and maybe they were criminal, or whatever the situation might be, here I'm assuming the worst. In that case also, we need to find the courage to admit, why am I here with this person for so long? Why am I not seeking help? Because I have fear. Maybe they have control over me. But what I want to say is, until and unless we admit that there is a part we play and we understand what part we play in our suffering, we are going to be here. And this is not just me. You look at every successful person who has been through challenges, who has struggled, or who has, the kind of stories that we really like to read, we would like to watch. But to become that story, we need to embrace and we need to kind of inculcate what those people did. And that means taking a look back. That means to stay, kind of allow ourselves to stay in that place of pain, that place of darkness, so that, for two reasons. One, so that you know exactly what you did, so that we may understand, okay, this is what I did and this is what got me here. Because it won't happen in a day, in a day or two. Maybe it does for some really, really self-aware people. At least it didn't happen for me. And I am yet to come across somebody who really snapped out of it really fast. But it takes some time. Because in the beginning, we all resist. We tell ourselves, no, I didn't do this, because it's so easy to play the victim. And it's so acceptable in society also, and it is so comfortable. Because you go to this warm cocoon of a space where it's the other person's mistake, and I'm just somebody who got caught, and I would have done this and I would have done that, if only that wouldn't have happened. But that kind of thinking will keep us where we are. It is never going to get us a life that we truly deserve and we truly want. And if we don't get out of this victim mode, if we don't identify our own patterns and admit, okay, this is why I am here and I did this and I did that, then we will never be able to regain our power back from other people, from circumstances, from life, from whatever it is that happened to us. So to be able to move on and to be able to create something that you truly want, it could be health, if you're struggling with health, it could be finances, it could be relationships, it could be anything that you want. There is a reason why we have not been able to do that. There's a reason why, and I find it very difficult to believe that people never got any opportunities. That's not true. I sabotaged a lot of opportunities with my own behavior patterns. Now, do I have perhaps to some extent, to quite a huge extent, justifiable reasons for that behavior? Yes. But going ahead and continuing to justify those behaviors is not going to help me any further. So I need to look at myself and see, these are the patterns, this is what I did, and I need to change. So admitting to ourselves, and you could write in your phone, you could write in your laptop. This is something that helps a lot, journaling. So you can just write, of course, something that is private to you. You could write in a notebook, just on your phone, on your laptop. Just knowing this and writing this is going to be something that is going to set you free. It's going to be very, very painful. You're going to feel a lot of grief, maybe anger, and even shame to quite an extent, because admitting it is not easy that you messed up because of yourself. But it is still going to be extremely liberating when you admit, because we spend a lot of energy trying to kind of hide this from our own self. Trying to just put this kind of this cover in front of people. Okay, I didn't do this. I didn't, and it's so easy to fall into that pattern. So, but the moment you do this exercise, the moment you start admitting, the moment you start taking a look at where you are, and after taking accountability, you start looking at everything that has happened, that has led to this moment where you are, where you don't like it, where you feel like a failure, like a loser. Actually, failure is not the right word. Failure is when you try and you fail forward, and that's not such a bad word, even though some people use it like that. But loser perhaps is the right definition. Loser is not somebody who tries and fails. Loser is not somebody who is struggling. Loser is somebody who is afraid to look at their own patterns, who is afraid to, or even doesn't want to look at their own, let us say, doings that are perpetuating their own misery. So if you really want to change and you have taken accountability of your life, I would really suggest that you start journaling and start writing what all actions of yours have brought you to this point. Everything that you did or you did not do that brought you here to this point where you're unhappy, you're living a life you don't like, and worst of all, there are people around you who counted on you and you really disappointed them. And most importantly, you disappointed yourself. That is not such a nice place to be. I hope you found this video useful and helpful. And do let me know if you started journaling, if there are any other things you would like to talk about. And to every one of you who is here and watching and finds this even tiny bit helpful, thank you so much. I'm truly grateful to have you here. Thank you.